Hey, you, stop explaining who you are. Your identity doesn't need permission. Hey, this is Stef, and welcome to the Together Moving Forward podcast. A podcast helping 2S LGBTQI plus people embrace self love and self respect so you can celebrate yourself with pride. In this episode, you'll discover why your LGBTQ identity is allowed to evolve, how letting go of gendered boxes becomes an act of self respect, not rebellion, why self acceptance and community can soften anxiety and help you feel less alone in your identity journey. Today's conversation is about stopping the need to prove who you are and starting to honor it. This episode reminds you that your LGBTQ identity is valid exactly as it is. Hello again, I'm Stef Vachon, and I am a human being. Welcome back to the Together Moving Forward podcast. Embrace your 2S LGBTQI plus identity with pride through self love. No matter where you stand in the 2S LGBTQI plus spectrum, we're all connected. And if you ever struggle to fully love and respect yourself, you're not alone. And this podcast is here to help you. As someone who has navigated my own journey of self acceptance as a queer, I know the power of hearing voices that reflect our own experiences. In this podcast, you'll hear real stories and conversations that leave you with practical tools, fresh perspectives, and the confidence to embrace who you are with pride. To start, I need to say that I'm not a psychologist, a specialist, or someone with a college degree. I'm just a regular guy here to share with all of you and support each other. I will share my journey, and we will all share journeys together. We'll learn from each other how to move forward. Today's episode is a follow up to episode 41, my conversation with Damon, also known as Damon Queen. That episode marked something special for me, not only because it was the first guest episode of 2026, but because of the honesty and clarity that came from such a young voice in our LGBTQ community. After that conversation, I found myself reflecting on what was said, what was felt, and what stayed with me. That conversation stayed with me long after the microphones were turned off because it was so honest, grounded, and full of truth. So today, I want to slow things down and revisit the three most important highlights from that conversation and explore them more deeply in my own words and explain why they matter so much. Identity is not something you figure out once, it's something you live. One of the strongest messages from Damon was this idea: you will never fully figure out yourself, and that's okay. So many of us, especially in the LGBTQ community, feel pressure to define who we are as early as possible. We feel like we need labels, answers, and certainty, not just for ourselves, but to make others comfortable. This pressure can feel even heavier for LGBTQ people because society often demands explanations, labels, and clarity from us. What Damon reminded us is that identity is not a final destination. It is not a problem to solve, it's a lived experience. It's something that evolves as we grow, experience life, and learn what truly makes us feel alive. It grows with us, it shifts as we change, as we heal, as we learn. And that means it's okay to not have all the answers. You're allowed to be unsure. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to discover yourself slowly. You don't need to have everything figured out to be valid. You're allowed to change. You're allowed to explore. You're allowed to listen to yourself instead of following a rule book that was never written for you. That alone can feel incredibly powerful. Listening to yourself instead of chasing certainty is often the most honest path forward. Letting go of boxes is an act of self respect. Another highlight that deeply resonated with me was Jamon's refusal to accept masculine or feminine boxes. From a very young age, We're told how we should behave, dress, speak, and exist based on expectations that often have nothing to do with who we really are. For many LGBTQ people, those boxes become cages. Damon shared something very simple, yet very deep. Clothes are just fabric, interests are just interest, and joy is not gendered. There's nothing masculine or feminine about joy, creativity, or self expression. These are human qualities. When we let go of boxes, we stop measuring ourselves against expectations that were never meant for us. We stop shrinking, we stop performing, and we start respecting ourselves. This isn't about rejecting society aggressively, it's about choosing yourself gently. It's about honoring what feels true to you, even when it doesn't make sense to others. Letting go of boxes isn't about rebellion, it's about honesty. It's about giving yourself permission to be whole. Self acceptance and community can soften anxiety. Anxiety was another important theme in episode 41, and it's something many of us recognize deeply. It's something many of us live with quietly. What stood out wasn't the idea of getting rid of anxiety, but learning how to live with it differently. Damon spoke about acceptance, accepting anxiety as part of the experience instead of fighting it or judging it. For many LGBTQ people, anxiety is often connected to feeling unseen, unsafe, or misunderstood. When you finally find community, even one safe space, one supportive voice, something shifts. You realize you're not alone and you don't need to hide. When you accept yourself and when even one person truly sees you, anxiety loses some of its power. You start realizing that you're not broken, you're human. And sometimes that realization alone is healing. Self acceptance doesn't magically erase anxiety, but it makes it lighter. It creates room for compassion, and compassion is often where healing begins. If there's one thing I hope you take from this follow up episode, it's this: you don't need all the answers to move forward. Identity is lived, not proven. You don't need to fit into boxes to belong. Freedom comes from releasing expectations. And you don't need to face your journey alone. Healing grows through connection with yourself and with others. Growth happens when we listen to ourselves, respect who we are today, and surround ourselves with people who let us exist without conditions. I'm always looking for inspiring guests for the podcast, and I would love to have you or someone you know share your journey with pride. The world needs your story. It has the power to change lives, and your voice matters. Please reach out and send me an email today. It is already time to say au revoir just for now. So please join me every Monday and Thursday for brand new episodes of the Together Moving Forward podcast and learn how to embrace your 2S LGBTQIA plus identity with confidence and pride. If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode about how to love and respect yourself. If you found this episode useful, share it with a friend or someone you know in our 2S LGBTQI plus community so you can help them embrace self love. It might seem like a small gesture, but it truly makes a huge difference. Wherever you are from in the world, we are all connected. Remember, solidarity beats hate. The more we unite, the stronger we become. Because at the end of the day, we are all equally human and we all deserve the same rights. Before we close with our weekly positive thought, I want to tell you what this one personally means to me, especially in relation to this episode. I embrace my authentic self every day. Embracing your authentic self doesn't mean you wake up every day feeling confident or fearless. It means you choose honesty over hiding. It means you stop apologizing for who you are becoming. It means you show yourself compassion on the days when things feel heavy. After listening to Demon, this thought feels even more powerful and grounded because authenticity is not about perfection, it's about presence. It's about showing up as you are right now and trusting that it's enough. Authenticity isn't about having everything figured out. It's about allowing yourself right now to exist fully without apology. Now is the time to put your hand on your heart and let's repeat it again. You and me together. This week, positive thoughts. I embrace my authentic self every day. Yep, I embrace my authentic self every day. From shame, guilt, silence, and rejection to pride, freedom, healing, and love. Together, we are moving forward. Thank you so much for being here with me today and for taking this moment to reflect with me. I truly appreciate it. See you real soon. Ciao. Subscribe now and share to uplift, empower, and make a real difference in our community.